Isn't it just amazing how the world can surprise us when we step out of routines? If you ever get the chance, go explore the nearby mountains. There's a whole world out there. I grew up in a high-altitude city surrounded by pine trees, and yet it never crossed my mind to wander through the autumn forest in search of pine nuts. But this year, I did. It was like stepping into a whole new realm. The colors, the smells, everything felt so different, and as the seasons change, so does the mountain. It's like nature's way of sharing a new story with me every few months. Before reaching the pine forest, I stumbled upon many wild fruits such as berries and wild bananas. These fruits all have one thing in common. They have little flesh and plenty of large seeds. Even when they are fully ripe, they are only mildly sweet. And getting to them takes a lot of physical effort. This was the food our ancestors relied on for survival. Simple and natural foods. But in just a couple of generations, the Industrial Revolution reshaped everything. Now, highly processed foods and cheap meat have become easily accessible, a stark contrast to the past. This has fundamentally changed how and what we eat, certainly making it hard for some of us to adapt. In September, most pine cones are still tightly closed, so you need to let them sit or roast them to release the pine nuts. By November, the cones are fully mature, but many have already opened, and quite a few pine nuts have fallen to the ground. That's why those few weeks in October are the perfect window to harvest. For harvesting, it's best to have a few essential tools. First, wear gloves, as handling pine cones with bare hands can easily get sticky pine tar on your skin, which is not fun at all to wash off. A pole can be very handy for knocking down cones that are out of reach. And finally, if you need to go even further, tree climbing equipment, including a safety harness and spikes, will make things much easier. The process of collecting starts by finding the trees with the most cones and with a sturdy trunk. Older trees not only provide more stability, but are also more likely to have nuts, while younger trees may produce empty cones. For cones closer to the ground, you can pick them up by hand or use a pole to knock them down. For the ones higher up, you will need to climb. Remember, secure your harness and spikes before climbing, and make sure of each stable footing before advancing. One misstep, you could end up like me. Once the pine cones are piled up, some are already fully mature, so you can simply shake them with just a few taps. For the ones that are still closed, you can use a tool to cut them open and retrieve the seeds inside. Now, just a small hammer will crack the shells and get to the kernels. The fresh pine nuts can be eaten raw right away. You can also roast them for longer storage. Or try blending them with red dates to make a vegan and nutritious nut milk, a customer favorite at my restaurant.